What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Another Week in the Books. Another chapter, should I say. We're here with chapter 32, book 2. I'm your host, Kyron, also known as Rich. I'm about to say I used the government name on him today. Obviously,
People
here,
like,
here
who?
with the
They got a new host?
Here with the legend Spike Lou, and we are not alone today, man. We got certified bookworm, been rocking around since book 1.
Yes, sir.
Host of the 808 and Chairshots podcast.
Yes, sir.
Big Jeff in the house. I told him before we recorded, man, I wore my rock shirt. Just a solidarity, man. Just a solidarity, man. Yeah. Real good content, man. I will say,
also real quick, also co-host of the Frame Full Sport Press podcast. Shout out to the good guys over there, J Ho, Weezy, cameraman, Locke, everybody over at the Full Sport Press podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I will say, man, y'all make me want to get back into the wrestling storylines. I really want to get back in and really figure out what's what. You know what it is. Once you've been out the game for so long, it's kind of like, man, do I still got it left? Do I still want to go? Do I need to go back and try to catch up? Because all this stuff is accessible now. Yeah, all this stuff is accessible now. If I really wanted to spend a year watching every single Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-view, you can do it, but it's going to take forever. And I used to do that for fun. I used to go back and look at old, like, late 90s, early 2000s episodes, just random episodes of Raw and things like this, just to relive those moments.
Because they all on Peacock, right?
Yeah.
You can get all. I was looking at
Netflix. Netflix got the new joints. Netflix got everything.
Peacock got the old, like what we grew up on. Like I was looking at old Survivor. I looked at that first Survivor series when Undertaker came out. He was on the $1 Million Man team.
Yeah,
like they got all the old pay-per-views and Royal Rumbles and shit like that.
Yeah. I'm about to say Spike was watching wrestling on the Rock's Pops. Was Rocky Johnson was out here tag team champion, man.
I slipped was though. I slipped.
Hey,
that was my first love. Wrestling was my first love, man.
I think it was everybody's, man. It's hard for me to really understand how you grew up if you ain't really had wrestling, man. It was, and we was before the internet and before social media, so it was one of those. I remember going to school on Tuesdays, and if you ain't watch, nigga, get away, go. We about to talk about wrestling last night, and I remember having to.
I remember taping it, nigga. Like VHS
I was just
tapes.
about to say, I swear on everything, I was just about to say, man, this is the era of VHS tapes and taping it and just trying to watch it in the morning before school or directly after, just to make sure I kept up. There was a hotline, man. I can't remember the name of the dude, man. There was a 1-800 number, and I laugh about it now. Me in school laugh because it would give you all the updates of wrestling. So, like, if you ain't get the pay-per-view, we could call that number and find out what happened.
You talking about Mean Gene hotline? The Mean Gene Oakland hotline?
Mean Gene Oakland.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. That's how I found out when Owen Hart passed. I found out from that before I even watched Raw. We called it and it was like, oh snap! Like because obviously you old enough to know, but you're still young enough to know. Like, are they playing? Like, this really happened, or is this a stunt? Like, nah, that really happened. Yeah. So all of that stuff, man. How you feeling, Jeff?
Man, I'm good, man. Appreciate y'all for having me, bro. Like I'll tell Lou all the time. I've been big fan of the show since its inception, since the first chapter. His first book, pardon me. And big fan of what y'all doing. And I always hit Lou with just little tidbits like, okay, I like this. I like what y'all doing. I always said I ain't never met Rich, but I could tell like you and Rich got a lot of similarities. You know what I'm saying? When y'all first started the show, you know what I mean? And I actually hit him like, man, it's gonna get there because it's chemistry, bro. Like I always tell him all the time, it's gonna get there. And y'all really done hit y'all stride these last like 5, 6, 7 weeks, bro. For real.
Nah, man, appreciate that. That means a lot,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
Especially, we do. I've said this before. I don't know at what length, but we one of the things that I thought about when Mo had asked me to take over for him when he stepped down was, man, like me and Spike are a lot. And I'm just like the rest of y'all, man. I love the last week's episode, chapter 31 was a great example of that. Having Mo on to kind of bring that perspective. And Mo is somebody that I personally call for self-assessment, right? And things happen and I'm trying to really understand, did I handle this the right way? Am I looking at every single angle? I'll reach out to Mo because I know he would might point out some things that I didn't, or even confirm, like, nah, you're right. If Mo says I'm valid in my feelings, and I'll usually be like, all right, then I kind of looked at every single angle from this perspective. And he brings that unique one-on-one. But like you said, man, I really think Spike and myself are finding the groove. And shout out to Dro for kind of putting a light, a fire under us, just to make sure that we were continuing to provide good content and take it a little bit more seriously as far as the preparation for it. So it always goes a long way, man. And that's what brotherhood is. That's what accountability is. That's what friendship is, and making sure that we are doing everything that we can to maximize the full potential, man, and leave nothing, no stone unturned. You know what I mean?
Bearing your soul, like just being like vulnerable, ain't easy, bro. So that's why it's like, you know, that's one thing, you know, not to go too far base, but that's one thing Mo was good at. You know what I'm saying? Like he could do that, and then Luke could be Luke. You know what I mean? Like kind of just chime in when it was. But the thing about that is that's not easy to do each and every week, because sometimes, like, bro, I just ain't got it tonight. Like, I just ain't got that to pour out in the world every week. You know what I'm saying? Like that could get a lot. So sometimes you do gotta just have a topic to talk about and just have a little fun, bro. Like just have a little fun. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Men can have fun. We can laugh. I promise you. I can only be so serious for so long. I make the worst jokes at the worst time, because it's always, you know what I'm saying, I'm joking at my grandmama's funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be tapped into the sadness that long. So yeah, I get it. I'm with you.
Definitely understand, man. Spike Lou, how you feeling, man? How you feeling this week?
I'm good, man. Pushing through, making lemonades out of whatever it's called, lemonade out of lemons, or however it's called.
Long Island iced tea.
Long Island iced teas, more preferably, like lemon drops or something like that. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Things are going well as far as content and making sure I do what I do. I took a week off on my reviews this week, but I'm right back at it this week. I had to give me some golf shots in there. So somebody said that they needed to make sure my golf swing went like Johnny Sacks. So I didn't get to go to the golf course when I wanted to, but I did get to get a swing in there to record. So I'm gonna have it on the next clip, man. So that's what delayed it, but it's coming soon, man. But other than that, everything good. What about you, my brother?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a good week, busy week. Tired, man. It was a long day, man. I had a lot of stuff going on, and just emotionally was just a little bit exhausted from some conversations earlier. Everything all good. Just, you know, once again, just factoring into trying to be the best version and hashing some things out with some people. You know what I mean? Just trying to get better. Not me personally, but like I'm trying to get into it without getting too anecdotal. Spike, we talked a little bit about it, self audits, and we're gonna have a conversation about that one day soon, one of these chapters. It's just about like auditing yourself, auditing your life, your friends, everything in there, and making sure that you're good. And I was talking to Spike on the phone yesterday, and I was like, man, as he mentioned it, I'm like, well, the crazy thing is, I just had the thought of, man, I need to call some of my friends and just ask them how they doing. And there was something that happened where somebody reached out to me this morning about something, and I disagreed with it. And there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of it was just a lot. And it's something that's just going to continuously be discussed and talked about. And I'm sure one day when it gets to that point, I can talk about it on the show, or probably have the person on here and we can discuss what it was, because I think it is a good, important view of growth and just kind of not crashing out. I know they use the term a lot, but more so, I gotta say this, and it just leading with love, man. As long as you can feel how you want to. I try to lead and end things with love. Like even if I'm upset or not in agreement, I always want to make sure, man, hey man, this don't change anything at all, but this is something we definitely got to revisit and kind of build from. So I'll dig into that more once everything kind of works itself out. But other than that, man, I'm doing good. But it's kind of going with what Jeff said, man. Sometimes you get in those days where it's just like, bro, I'm just already emotionally tapped. And it was funny because I was thinking, like, man, I don't know the last time I had a conversation where I was physically exhausted from it. Like, just literally, like, man, bro, I'm done. I'm tapped. Like,
was this a friend or an associate?
No, it's a friend. This is
Friend.
this is worth the comment. Yeah, if it was an associate, we wouldn't even be doing all that. It is what it is, man.
We got a lot of reaction.
Can I ask what a self-assessment, like a self like audit, what you mean by that? Like I have an idea. I did not. I know not to go into the actual
you good
situation, right? I know you want to cover that later, which is fine. I want to be on the same page with you on that one.
I want to toss it to Spike. Spike brought it up. I have my own thoughts, but Spike, you want to give your interpretation?
Yeah, I don't think that we do enough self-auditization in the sense of like you get your head down and you get in the midst of stuff. So you're working and you're doing your podcast and you're doing your podcast all the time. You're creating content and you're having these conversations about those things, but you're not really taking time out to ask yourself, like, what's benefiting you? Like, what people are benefiting you? Or what am I doing to benefit the people that I care about? Like, just having those conversations with people who can benefit from you holding the mirror up and being like, you know what, I haven't been calling enough, or I haven't been as accessible as I needed to be in order for this to be a fruitful relationship. I haven't, kept some of the things up that have made us friends. Haven't been able to do those things as much. So how do I course correct? And even on the flip side of it too, like with the relationships that I have with people, like how much is that servicing me? Like how when was the last time that you were able to do this with this person? When was the last time that you were able to have this type of conversation with this person? Because we get in autopilot, I feel like so much sometimes that we just going and that what made me think of it when we were talking about the friends and associates and we talking about the wedding thing, and you like, some of your friends just are who they are. Yeah, that's true, but sometimes you have to audit that behavior as well. Like, bro, I know you've been like this your whole life, but like, what's up? Is there any, like real talk? Like, we at the age now where like a lot of shit that you could let slide when you was in your late teens and early 20s and early 30s, like those things were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But if we are doing like maybe some type of business together, or just it didn't even got to be business, just from like a relationship standpoint. And I ain't talking about just like a relationship with I'm talking about like all relationships.
Yeah.
Like having the self-realization to ask the questions of how do these relationships service me? Or how do these habits service me? Like with some of the things you're doing, like just asking yourself, like from a realistic standpoint, like how's it servicing me?
So, I was listening the last week when y'all were talking about when you brought up the wedding situation. My bad, Rich. I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, you good.
And I'm sorry, I forget her name. What's the young lady's name? Portia. Yeah, Portia was kind of yes, definitely shout out to her because she was counteracting what you was counterpointing what you was saying, Lou, about like now you shouldn't have to bring it up to your friends. Like I kind of see what both of y'all was going with there, right? Like I try to like when it comes to friends, I try to expect the people to be who they are no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like I got homeboys I've been friends with since 4th grade. We could talk about that later, which is probably, I was always closed off from other people. And I also got new people that's around that haven't been around as much, but I still consider them friends now. But it's certain things about you I would never expect. Like I got a homeboy, 42 years old, still active gang member. I can say that because that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? Still an active gang member. And I mean active by the definition of the word active. Active gang member, 42 years old.
Jomo.
I'm not calling him to my house to watch.
That's Jeff Boy too.
Yeah, that's shout out to Jones, shout out to Jomo. You know what I'm saying? Look, like I'm not calling him to the crib. I'm not getting him out of his element. I'm not asking him to go with me to the all black. Like we can go see Jeezy together. We're not going to the Black Tie Jeezy concert for the 20th anniversary because he's not putting the tux on to go to that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just not doing that. But so I look at it from the standpoint. I understand where Lou was going. Where you was going with that, Lou. Like if my homeboy is always an hour late, I'm gonna ask him not to be an hour late. I'm also not gonna ask my own boy to do something he can't do. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I do think that's a very solid point in the sense of I don't think it's friend like I don't think it's being a good friend when you ask a friend to do stuff that puts them out of their element.
Yeah.
Like you can do stuff and try to help them grow, but like you said, if I got a friend that's active gamer and I'm trying to get the nigga to come to council meetings with me, nah, bro, you need to know the local politics and this, that, and the third, because it's gonna help you. Like, bro, no, like I don't think that's being a good friend. You're not setting them up for success.
I think that's the most difficult part, right? At what point do you stop trying to encourage your friends to grow? You know what I mean? And accept them fully for who they are. And that's going to be a difficult thing because as we grow and we get older, we realize, some people realize it at a very young age, that peace is one of the most important assets that you can have in life. And peace, a lot of times, comes with less people around. There's less drama, less personalities, less things to deal with. And you're really careful about who you have in your life. And going back to the original question of self-audit, one of the things, one of the most telling things about everything that happened today was I didn't know that I still had kind of certain feelings about a situation that happened until it was brought up. So when what was said, it was almost like, what the fuck, huh? Like, you not qualified to say this to me because of X, Y, and Z. And I didn't know that I still had that. And that was the biggest thing. When I talk about self, it was more so like, damn, I wasn't concerned about the conversation because that's going to get worked out. Like, you know what I mean? I know that that's not going to be an issue. It's more so like, damn, I had no idea that I still held on to this. And I want to make sure I dive into that and make sure that I, you know, that let me know like, oh, we really need we need a one-on-one in-person type of thing. We really need to clear the air and make sure that we on the same page and I can express what I need and have room for you to express what you need. And that was a good thing because normally, like I said, it'd be more like, man, what the fuck? You got me, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, nah, did I take this right? Am I receiving this information correctly? Am I doing everything to make sure that I understand your point of view without trying to make sure that my point of view was the main topic? Like, right, I hear what you're saying, but this is where I'm coming from. We always want to make sure we get off what we saying. And sometimes you got to sit back and like, you know what? Maybe there's something in here for me to grow from, regardless of how I feel. And when you identify certain things about yourself and unveil certain things that you didn't know were still there, it's like, all right, then cool. I need to really dive into this and kind of get a better idea. And like Spike said, man, just kind of reach out to people on some like, hey, everybody good? You all right? Not just a text message. Sometimes it's just a call. Because, you know, we call our brothers, man, you know, what's going on? How you feeling? All right, everything cool. Like, nah. I'm not talking. I'm not asking the surface level question. I'm asking really, how are you feeling? How your mental going? Everything good in life? You and your girl doing all right? Your family cool? Like all of that. Like, and then you kind of really get into the conversations. You'll be surprised at how many people needed that phone call. And it helps build and follow up from there. And it's just about being consistent and making sure, like I said, the people in my life, I want them around. Are the habits that I'm building every single day, is that good for where I'm trying to get in life? And it's a lot of work, man. We were talking about, before we started, man, me and Spike were talking about forever. Just very briefly about, you know, how we enjoyed the show, the Netflix.
Oh, the show.
Both of us. Both of us on our respective platforms did some reviews on it. And there was a moment like Wood Harris as Eric, the dad, man. He
one of the best TV characters ever.
Yeah, incredible. And
you watched it, didn't you, Big Joe?
Yeah.
One of the best TV characters ever.
He smoked that.
Yeah, and I was talking about, man, you know, when we talk about things like, it's funny because we'll get into this conversation today, masculinity and what it's like to run a household or be the head of a household. These are all very ambiguous things. They can look different based on what your situation is and what your agreements are with your girl, partner, your family, whoever. However, as someone who doesn't have kids, who doesn't have an immediate family of his own, as far as like wife, kids, I'd imagine that's how I would want to be the head of a household. Like just being able to be someone like him, give advice. And the main point I was going to make about this was my favorite episode was the Vineyard episode. In that moment when he was talking to
that was good shit.
That moment he was talking to Justin on the bench about Keisha, on some like, nah, you know, you gotta know who you are, man. Gotta walk through the heat. The fire to know who he is on the other side of the heat. There was something where he said, like, man, you don't want easy. Or what was it exactly that he mentioned? I can't remember. But either way, the main point of it was making sure that you were making those decisions and finding out exactly who you are. And that's kind of how I try to assess life as well, not just with women, but just in general. Like, you know what I mean? Making sure that I'm taking all those things in the stride and not taking the easy way out. Like, really want to make sure we had those conversations. Go ahead.
Okay.
That was an amazing scene. That was my favorite scene of the whole episode. I needed that talk. I needed that talk from him, like just to hear that. But you brought up an interesting thing.
I'm sorry. That's what I was going to say. He mentioned that, you know, he asked him if he was getting a divorce. He said, "What? Why?" He said, "It's trending." He was like, "Man, nah, your mama the best thing that happened to me. If anything happened, if we ever get divorced, she left me." And he was like, "Man, like men run away." This was the point I was going to make.
From women that require
we run away from women, women who are a lot because they ask so much of us. And you take the women part out of that, and I think that's exactly where we need to get in general. Like the people who ask so much of us are the people we should be leaning into because they're the people that see the best in us and want to see to those levels, get to those levels. And we know, just like anything else, man, if you want something, you got to grind and get it. And there's a lot of emotional strain, physical strain that goes with it. But it's going to make you better at the end of it. Like you said, man, you got to go through that heat to find out, or go through that fire to find out who you are on the other side of the heat. And that's just a real thing that I think everybody can take in their life.
I had to send that scene to an ex. Like just that whole like conversation of what he said. I had to send that out.
I was a future episode in itself.
I looked to the left. It's like that's you know what I'm saying.
That
like
was a bar. That was
like that was it. Yeah.
As men, we can relate to that. Like you've had that woman that you know is good for you, but it's like I'm not trying to do all that, bro. Like I ain't right. At least not right now. And then you look back over it, you have a different opinion on it. What I will say is, as far as what you brought up about leading the household, and it speaks to what we're going to talk about a little bit with masculinity. It takes a very masculine man to lead from the position that Wood Harris was leading from in that house. He knew that his wife is not the woman who is going to be like naturally following behind him. She's going to want to lead the charge because probably that's what her career requires. That's what's required for her to get to the place that she's been at. Yeah. So he never tries to over macho or masculine her, but when it comes to time to make very important decisions, even though she may be very opinionated, he's going to put his foot down and she listens because he don't try to do it all the time. I don't think I got to say that on any of my reviews. And that was what was so brilliant about his character, that it wasn't strong-handed, but when it called for him to be the man of the house, he never failed. And most of the times the advice that he gave was correct, even though she had a hard time with sitting with it sometimes. I think that was brilliantly done by them.
Yeah. And you had to be paying attention to get that too.
To get that, exactly. You had to be paying attention to how he was doing it.
Yeah. Yep. When he told her to go pick her up after she was dealing with everything, she told her mom about the scandal. I ain't gonna say too much if anybody hasn't seen it. So when she told her mom about the scandal when she was going through it, he wanted to go see her. Mom was like, nah. He was like, nah, man, go ahead and pick her up, take her to this spot. This is what it is. And Dawn, who was the wife, she had an issue. He was like, listen, you say you want to be a man. This is some man shit.
That was happened to like
that was it. That was it.
That was mainly advice that a lot of kids don't get.
They don't get it. And on the flip side of it, it was always looking out for his wife. Like you said, Spike, it was always compromised. One of my favorite moments that's very subtle is that morning after the prom. He told him, like, listen, man, your mom's been doing she's been trying her hardest not to smother you. Like when you see her today, man, give her details of what happened. Like just knowing I know my wife, I know what she wants. And like it's hard for her right now. She's not going to tell you that, but I'm telling you. And I'm asking you as your dad, make sure you include her in the things that you got going on in your life because she wants to know. And that's how she wants to, be involved. And I think the very first episode, he said, stand up, talk, communicate, simple shit. Like this is all simple, basic shit that I think a lot of us, when we look back at those teenage years and those formidable years, you're like, damn, that's simple guidance. And for some reason, it's very easy to accept from someone like that because it's always best interest at heart. Before we get rolling, I do want to kind of get into some emails, or not emails, but some comments that we got based off last week's episode. So I want to read a few of those because people chimed in. Public Enemy B, shout out to our guy, man. He wrote in, and this was something that was going on a lot. A lot of people had jokes. There was that moment when Portia was like, damn, Spike, you ain't called?
That was wild. That was so funny.
Man, that was just a funny moment from the episode, man. That's all. That was his comment, man. Like that was just one that he, if you listen to it in real time, We got a couple of emails from Ash, man. Shout out to Ash, man. For those who don't know, co-host of the Childish Grown-Ups podcast. That's actually Mo's younger sister. Shout out to her for tapping in with us. She left a couple of comments she had written. She wrote, I think we should all be continuously growing. That's just how that person is a valid view and cool, but the importance of the relationship should play a factor where it's okay to go out of your way at times for someone who is of that value of you to do so. An example like, my friend is always late. It's kind of going into what Spike was saying. An example of like, my friend is always late. It's like, yeah, but come on, get that shit together. Like, what is preventing you from being on time, especially if it's something that causes for a timely arrival, like a wedding? LOL. But like Rich said, I think that plays a part in that actual I think it plays a part in if that individual actually wants to do better, and that other person has the right to say, this friendship is no longer serving me as well. So
that's true.
Kind of what we talked about right before. And then she also said, hey, when are y'all going to meet Rich, Spike, and Mo? And I need that vlog when y'all do. She want the Kai Cenat stream. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man. Public Gonna Be also said fantastic episode. And then my boy Barks, man, my brother Barks, he had mentioned, man, calm down, Rich. LOL, we had a lot of good, clean Christian fun. That's a reference to I mentioned I'm so proud of my dogs because, man, when I tell you where they are today, compared to where we were, a lot of clean Christian fun. That's bullshit. I want to tell y'all right now.
Man. I never met your homeboys, Rich, but anytime your homeboy hit you with we had good, clean Christian fun.
Yeah, man.
It was some bullshit going on. You better believe that.
Yeah, buddy. That was one of them nights.
It's funny, man, because I remember this is a random ass story, man. I remember Barks, man. It was I can't remember a buddy name. Little Bud, man, in Toledo, man, that we had. And I remember Barks was getting like, I don't know, a quarter or something like that. Went to go pick it up. And dude put it in his hand. He looked at it, and it wasn't a quarter. He looked at him, and just with the comment, hey, man, give me my money back. And dude was like, what? He was like, hey, man, you either go give me my money back or something about to happen to you, and I'm about to take it and take this. So what you want to do? That's the type of people we were. I mean, it was just young and dumb, man. But everybody's progressing in families and kids and all that, man. It's just beautiful to see, man. Shout out to the crew, man.
Man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But want to kind of get into some topics today. This is a couple of current events. It's been a few chapters since we had some current event moments. Spike and myself had seen some things that I thought were worth a conversation. One, and I will talk about this briefly. I sent it to you earlier, Spike, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
The dude with the car show?
No, not the car show. We'll definitely talk about that. That's going to be more of a lead into what we're speaking on. Let me go to my text messages because I forgot already what it was. It's Men's Mental Health Month, right, in June. And I want to make sure that at some point before the month is over, we get a conversation to discuss mental health, Black men mental health in particular. But I saw something that was very, very fascinating. And Mark Lamont Hill, who I've been familiar with Mark for quite some time, and obviously his popularity is growing now that he's on the Joe Budden podcast. But he's a very thoughtful person. And there's a clip going around. I believe it happened in January 2024. And he's at a school and speaking, and there's a woman who kind of walks up. You can kind of see him get a little bit uncomfortable, like, why she approaching me like this? He's seated. And all of a sudden, she pepper sprays him. Right? She pepper sprays him. He retreats. Somebody comes and tackles her, the whole nine. And he wrote a response, now that the video is circulating. He said, hey, man, I'll find everyone. The video of me being pepper sprayed was from January 2024. At the time, the attacker believed that I was part of a conspiracy, along with CIA and some other organizations, to cover up traumatic events from her childhood. Since then, after refusing to press charges, I worked with her family and community members to enable a restorative process. Through that process, I learned she indeed suffered significant childhood abuse, as well as serious mental health challenges that continue to this day. Instead of criminal prosecution, I've done my best to make sure that she receives social and mental health support to help her heal as best as possible. With the mental health conversation and a lot of things that we're learning in real time as adults, I wanted to get y'all brothers' thoughts because I really applauded this. There's a larger conversation to be had about the jail system and reform and what's really necessary. And Is it beneficial to have people in jail for 50, 60, 70 years versus trying to reform them and make them better community citizens? Sort of like the friendship conversation. Not everybody can be saved, but there are a lot of people in jail who don't need to be in jail. And I thought it was very fascinating that he didn't want to press criminal charges. He did the another week in the book staple, which is ask another question. Why did this woman out of nowhere just come and pepper spray me? Go ahead.
Yeah, he's an abolitionist, so he don't believe in jail at all. That's why he didn't press charges. But it's interesting in this statement. It's what I found most interesting in this statement, being an avid listener to the JBP. This lady was stalking him. Like, she wrote him letters. She spray painted his store, tried to bust out the storefront window.
That's crazy.
Being very detrimental to what he had going on. And she is dealing with mental health. But Joe asked him, Mark, the other day before this story came out, like the previous episode, like, what was up with him? Like what we were talking about earlier, because he was like falling asleep, drinking a lot of Red Bulls on his streams and shit. And he was like, I'm battling with depression right now. And he said he's battling with depression from the sense of overextending himself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to do everything for everybody. And if I don't do it, then I am not who I say I am.
Right.
So you hear this story, and it's a great thing that he did that. But then you think about your family, your kids, your wife, and the people that need you to show up for them, and you're overextending. Not saying that it's wrong, but obviously it's affecting his mental health, since he voiced it on a platform with 3-4 million people. It's like, I'm depressed, but I still go out and do things like this, which is really impressive for him to still have that mindset of like, I don't want to throw this lady in jail, and I'm not just going to stop and not pressing charges. I'm actually going to work with her family and try to find treatment for her.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot for a brother like Mark Lamont Hill, who booked and busy.
Yeah.
So while it sounds like a good thing, I wonder how good it is for his mental health, because clearly it's affecting him.
We could talk about this all day, because to me, I applaud him for that. I'm not an abolitionist. I do think jails are there for a reason. Some people should go to prison. It just is what it is, right? But I also think I'm a big proponent of, let's find a way to keep them from going back. If you do something, you get punishment. Let's have programs in place to where when you come home, there's no reason for you to go back. Right? That's the main thing for me. If we can't get rid of the system all the way together, let's better the system to where we're not having so many people in that prison, that school to prison pipeline. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I applaud him for not pressing charges, and I also give him another applause just for saying, let me stand around and help this young lady with her family and get her in a better position. Because obviously, if you've seen that video, she was not in a good space. But Lou, to speak to what you said about how it's impacting him, that's a part of it though. I'm a strong proponent of to whom much is given, much is expected. And if you I remember my grandfather told me, he didn't talk much, but he told me, if you're gonna drop your nuts, you can't pick them back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just told me that. I was like, if you're gonna drop your nuts, you can't pick them back up. So once they out, once you want the big piece of chicken, that's how he looked at the man in the house. Got the big piece of chicken. Once you want the big piece of chicken, that's your job for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
That's a great point.
So you start doing these things for these people. I'm not saying you should be used and abused, but if you start playing that role for people in your life, that becomes a part of who you are. Unfortunately, to me, like I can never not be the big brother to my sisters. I can never not be the protector of my sisters. And my mom is not married. I pray she gets married and finds a gentleman she falls in love with. I'm still my mom's protector. I'm my mother-in-law's protector. Like that's just the role that I play. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand that every day when I wake up. You know, I got to get home because I got to make sure they get home.
Yeah.
You know, so I get it.
But what happens when that starts to affect your household, though? I think that's, like, you're absolutely right, and I don't disagree with anything that you say, but I think the interesting perspective on this is, that is now making me deal with depression, which is something that my wife and my kids are now going to have to deal with. And I would totally understand, while it may sound like she's being a bitch, if his wife were to say, like, you got to cut some of this shit out, bro. Because like you're not yourself anymore. Like I can see the worry on you. Like y'all know how women are, like especially ones that you connected to. When it's you going through something, they know. Now you ain't necessarily. They may give you a couple of opportunities to tell them, but they gonna ask. They gonna ask one time, and they gonna see like where you at with it. And if you're not ready to talk about it, a good woman gonna put it on the shelf and be like, okay. Don't
we coming back.
Shit blow. Yeah, we gonna come back to this. Whether you bring it to me, but it's gonna get addressed, especially if it's a good woman that's looking out for your interests. So I wonder how his wife deals with that, or his kids, or whatever it may be, deal with that. Because it's like, yeah, you're being a great person by doing this for this lady, and that's an amazing thing. But you falling asleep on streams, like you're down in Red Bulls to stay awake. Like who knows what's going on at the house, and not to imply that anything bad is going on, but I could totally understand some concern for some people who are close to him being like, hey, bro, you're doing too much. And I think that's the leeway we need to leave our loved ones too. Like what you said, Jeff, too much is given, much is expected, right? But you do, and that's the important thing about doing those self-audits. You do have to realize when you're stretching yourself way too thin for the really important people.
Let me ask you this. I'm curious. And specifically Spike, because just knowing your personality, could you see yourself being in a position where you can openly admit, like, hey, man, I'm depressed right now? Like on a podcast, on air, just kind of being open about it. Is that something that you would keep more private? Because it wasn't like that was a conversation. He volunteered that information about going through depression. And
they kind of skipped right over it. They skipped right over it really until somebody was like, nah, wait, what did he say?
Yeah, and then remember Joe's response, like,
what you got to be depressed about?
To be suppressed about. And obviously, I think Sparks or somebody was like, man, it don't work like that.
That ain't
like,
a valid question,
right?
You ought to know it don't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. Could you see yourself being open enough to say, hey, man, I'm battling some depression right now?
I couldn't. Being completely honest and true to what this book is, like, it probably should be something like I don't even think that I could call my mom's and tell her that, not out of fact that I don't think that she would accept it. It's just like, if I'm talking to a therapist and I'm paying somebody to listen to this, then fine. But I don't feel like that burdening people with that responsibility of I'm in this space right now and I'm not my best, and them having to think about it or having to help, thinking that they are obligated to help me out of it because I told them. I don't really want to put that responsibility on nobody. So if I'm being completely honest. So personal or public platform, I'm not even making a phone call to a nigga and being like I'm depressed, even if I am like going through it.
So all right. So this is the reason why I asked you specifically, because I don't have a problem saying it, and I knew that was gonna be your answer, which is why I wanted to just confirm. And I want to ask you why not? Like, what is it, as someone who, we just had a friendship episode, friendship, your village, your community, man, that's what they're there for. Why would you not want to use the people that you love and trust the most as a sounding board? Because it's interesting that you look at it as, I don't want to burden anyone, when it's not burdening anyone, it's just being open. And sometimes you just need to get it out. Like, what is it about calling someone or being even one person, just having one person so where I can share this with? Like, what do you think that is?
Can I answer that, Lou? Baby,
sure.
Not to answer for you, but I have an answer for that, because I'm that person. I feel the same way about not wanting to burden people with certain stuff. I only want to burden people with good shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro, I got an event going on. I'm speaking here. I'm doing this. I don't want to burden, because I know how many phone calls I get a day, or how many text messages I get a day. Bro, I need this. Or I need this. Or can you come here? Can you help with this? And I know what that does to me. I know what that has done to me in times. And I know what it's like when somebody, not saying you feel bad, not saying you don't want to take the phone call, but sometimes somebody call you and just open up to you. You just saying, what's up, bro? How you doing? What's up, my girl? How you doing? And you just got the whole life story in 5 minutes. And then you sitting there, you done took that in, right? So you do feel like that could be a burden, because you know how I feel when it comes to you. Now you take it, you take it and you help them solve the problem, whatever wrong, right or wrong, but you don't want to do that to somebody else. I know for me, that was my thing until we can go into how I got over that. You know what I'm saying? But I used to feel that way a lot.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And for me, to answer your question, Mitch, it's labeling it for me. Like I'm not gonna like pick up the phone and be like, hey, I'm feeling depressed. But I will call people who I feel comfortable talking to about what I feel like I'm depressed about. Like me and you had a conversation last week. Like it didn't have to be like, man, I'm depressed that this happened, but me and you have a safe enough space where I can explain to you. You probably the only person that I've talked to about with it. Or I avoid the conversation altogether. And if I'm not feeling up to myself, like I'll go into my shell, which I ain't talked to, or you won't talk to people for like a couple of weeks. But I still feel like there's a heavy, well, not two heavies, but there's a thing to be said about calling someone and being like, I'm depressed, and then what type of burden that puts on them. Like, because how do you receive that versus like, is it something you need to do for them? Do we just need to talk? Is it something you can talk through? You just need a comforting ear? Like, what does that mean? And I think how I've been approached with it a lot of times when people have come to me like that, as to what Big Jeff says, they don't come to you, I won't say looking for a solution, but you're not sure what to do with the information and how you can help. And I want to be helpful. Yeah. And that's probably, as someone who may have received that information and saying, oh, you're depressed. It's like, okay, well, what can I do? And they really don't know what you can do either. And I think I kind of use that as to what you're saying, Rich, why I won't call it or burden people with it. Because I'm a natural enough conversationalist, especially with people that I talk to. Like, it'll come out and I can get what I need from that conversation without overly stating I'm depressed and putting that burden on you of thinking that you have, because this may be ego or arrogance or whatever, but I don't want you to think about it when we hang up. I want you to think that this conversation serviced me enough. Like I just had this conversation with one of my brothers this week. I called him just to say, hey, and it was like what you said, Jeff, he going through something with his girl and like major life-changing events.
Yeah.
And I was here to hear all of it. I didn't call him for that. Yeah. But any way that I could help in the conversation to aid him, having been gone through what he's going through now, of like having to uproot situations and brand new routines and things like that. Like, any help that I can give you, I'm going to give it to you. But he didn't have to overly state like, man, I'm going through it or whatever it may be. It's just like, I feel like with people that you love, it naturally what's bothering you is going to come out in conversation without it being this theatrical thing of I'm depressed. Like, because I'm not sharing that. And to your point, I'm not sharing that information with a lot of people anyway. But the people versus calling them saying that I'm depressed, that I would talk to about the things that I'm depressed about, like, they'll get it without having to have to put their thumbnail on, oh man, bro, going through it. Like, we can have that conversation and I'll feel better at the end of it. So
I can respect that. And I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd expect anyone to call someone and hey, what's going on? Hey man, I'm depressed right now. I think it's more so somebody asks you, would you be open with expressing that? But one thing that I think is very interesting is there's a lot of things that they don't talk about or you don't know until you actually get older. And I think all three of us are in that phase of life where when you start seeing new generations come behind you, like you grew up your whole life being the next generation. And all you know is what you know. Yeah. And then you finally reach a point where the world you grew up with is changing. Yep. And I look at things like mental health in terms like depression and anxiety and things of that, where they were around. We just didn't have the language for it growing up.
Facts.
You know what I mean? We just didn't have the language. And now I think for people in our generation, it can be a little bit of an overkill on, does everything have a label? Does everything have a diagnosis? And it does, I'm sure. We're starting to get the language for these feelings, but it's also hard to shake from, I just got to pick up and keep going. And I don't know if we really know how to slow down and really assess ourselves because we never were taught. You know what I mean? We've seen generations of people, men and women, whether your mom, your grandparents, whoever, they didn't have time to stop and deal with oh, how am I feeling today? Like my grandfather had 12 kids.
Shit.
There's no time for him to be on some like, oh yeah, I'm not really. Nah, man, you go to work, you provide, and it rinse, repeat, and that's just what it is. I think about my pops, man. My grandmother was 16 when she had my pops. And you know, anybody who's had a teen mom, a lot of times it feels like a sibling relationship, like almost like big sis in the sense that you eventually can grow to mother son, father son. But a lot of it is, man, they're kids trying to raise a kid. There's a lot of grace that needs to be given to them. And I think about all the things that he probably went through and the responsibilities that he bared being the oldest child of 5, where he didn't have a chance to kind of be a child and grow up. He was kind of a young adult at a very young age. And I wonder, like, damn, like, I wonder what it would have looked like for him to have space to talk to somebody about some of the feelings he had. And when we don't get that, and we're the first generation of learning all of this, it's hard to kind of adjust. And it's hard to kind of be the Eric from forever to where I'm able to give my son sound advice because now I have the tools and the language. Like, you know, we talk about, and that's another reason why I love that character so much, because if you go online, you can see jokes about, hey man, this generation of parents are trash. You know what I mean? They just trash and they're not good. I have friends who work in education that say that, like, man, it's kind of sad what's going on. However, I think we all are still trying to adjust to what this life looks like and what we really need. And as long as you were able to, and I say all that to say, as long as you're able to call someone and, hey, this is what I'm going through, I'm not going to call it depression. I never forget. After I lost my dad, man, I had an ex who lost her dad. And I was reaching out to her and I was just kind of talking to her about my journey. And I mentioned, you know, depression, and she was strongly against that. Like, I do not believe in labels. Like, I don't believe in like putting that on myself. It's just a personal thing. And I'm like, I bet I appreciate that. Like, that's you. However you need to get through it. So I can understand both sides of it, but it's a very interesting conversation when it comes to the mental health aspect of things. So
you brought up an important thing as you were saying that too, before we move on. What this generation does do well, they allow their kids the runway to talk. We come from a generation of, you're a kid, you to be seen, not heard. Like grown folks talking, like, why are you even talking right now if grown people talking? So I know, to your earlier question, Rich, in the sense of like, I'm depressed or this and that, or being able to call people and say that, my mom we not having conversations about schoolwork or anything like that unless you're doing bad. Like, the expectation was, you out there, you handle it, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So we not having conversations on, well, what teachers do you like? What you do in school today? What do you like about school? What is this, that, and like, no. Nigga, here go your clothes, here go your books, here go your book bag, go to school, do what you're supposed to do. And if I hear a call from a teacher or a principal where you fucking up, now we need to talk about the fuck up. Yeah. Like, it wasn't really like, I see what I do really appreciate about parents nowadays that I've seen is they give their kids the room to talk. Like, oh, Miss such and such, I don't like her. She did this and did that. And then they talk through it with their kids, which makes it a lot easier for them to be able to voice their concerns and problems. And you also understand your child's personality more. You don't just resort to believing the teacher because that's an authority figure. It's like, well, I know my son wouldn't do. Like, there was a couple of situations when I was in school. It was like, well, I'm not even the type of motherfucker that she like that. What the teacher is saying, like, that there's no way that happened. But your mama she ain't gonna really buy that because this is an authoritative figure saying these things about you. And why would she lie? Versus nowadays, I think what the problem is with kids and and teachers is like, parents know their kids more nowadays than they knew us. Yeah, it's like, nah, this don't sound right. Like, what you saying, Miss Johnson? Like, yeah, you're an authoritative figure, and I know you teach him every day, but this is my son, and I talk to him. What you telling me don't add up. It's some gaps in this story. We got a lot less of that in our generation than what kids get in their generation now.
Similar situation to you, Lou. Like, I was raised by my grandparents, so I was at school. All they knew that I was in school. Facts. They might check.
You better be doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
They couldn't help me with my homework. if I needed help. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of I had to do after my mom left when I was like 5 or 6. My pops left when I was like 10 or 11 when I was 11. So from like 12 on, we had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I had to figure it out. So a lot of that comes from, like you said, like teachers calling home and all this stuff. I learned how to fly under the radar. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like if I make a lot of A's or at least B's, they ain't gonna trip. I can talk a little bit more in school. You know what I'm saying? I can cut class. I can't go home. I got old grandparents. They at home, so I can't go home when I'm cause you know what I'm saying. But I can still do my thing if I want to. But I need to make sure my grades is up. So there's some positives that come out of it. You learn how to. I don't want my.
That's why we are like we are. We self-sustaining in a way. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want my children to go through that. But there's some positives that do come out of that situation.
Like my mama wouldn't know we got report cards until somebody at work asked or was talking about their children's report card. It's like, oh, well, y'all got report cards the next day. Like after the day she was supposed to sign, and oh yeah, damn, here it goes.
I can still do my grandmother's signature to this day. I can still do her signature to this day. That's how much
that's real, man.
That's
real. That's real, man. Moving on, Spike, I want to let you go ahead and roll this topic out, man. You sent it to me about a father who had some choice words for his son in regard to a car show that he attended. And yeah, we got to talk about this, man, because you said it, and I just we got to just kind of find the caption. So just to kind of set it up, and I'll have Spike. I'll ask Spike to read the actual text messages. A young man, not sure exactly how old he is, maybe late teens, I'd imagine, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. Went to a Rick Ross car show, and he's taking a picture. He's smiling in front of these two cars. Now, a car show, obviously, if you've been to any kind of car show, you know, real nice cars, whether exotic, whether they're the old schools, the whole nine. And just for the visual, for those who haven't seen it, it's not like he's leaning on the car. It's not just like he's in the driver's seat acting like he's his. It kind of looks like they just took a picture and he happened to be in front of the cars. You can make an argument that he wasn't even trying to pose with the vehicles, depending on who you are and how you want to look at this. And he sent this to his dad, and I'm sure just on some, hey, look where I am, look at this picture, check the fit, whatever. You know how kids are these days. Yeah. And his dad sent a text message back. And it was very entertaining. Yes, go ahead, Spike.
Said, that's nice, son. You took a picture in front of another nigga car like a groupie. I never did that. Never, exclamation point. Different mentalities. I'm never a fan. I'm a boss. You get that from your mama's side.
Damn.
That's the part. Telling your son you get something from your mama's side is fucking hilarious. And meaning it. Me and Spike had the conversation. The reason that's so funny is he meant that shit.
He meant every word of this.
He meant that.
And misspelled groupie.
And misspelled groupie, absolutely. Jeff.
Oh, with the Y.
Yeah.
You know that's an old head. That's an old
head. Yeah, it's
definitely an old head.
Yeah.
The conversation about in a roundabout way, the dad didn't think that was very masculine of his son. That was groupie behavior. That's not what we do as men, especially in this family. On this side, we bosses. We take pictures in front of our own stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that son was probably like, yo, this was just I just wanted to show you where I'm at. And I ain't expected to turn into all this. Jeff, when you saw this, what were your initial thoughts on the dad's perspective and if he was right?
That's grade A parenting to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. No, it was a little harsh, but also that the line about that come from your mama's side of the family. My pops is that we've grown our relationship now as I've gotten older. So my pops has definitely said that to me. Like, oh, that's for your mama's side. Like that ain't. I would never do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he said that to me, jokingly, of course. But no, I mean, all jokes aside, I get it. What dad was trying to say right there. I don't know I was reading the comments from the post. A lot of people didn't really see where the father was coming from. Like it's old school rules right there. Like quick story. Spike, remember when you, me, AB, a couple other people just go down to Revolt? Like y'all used to have to talk me into taking pictures with people. Remember, like y'all had to talk me into taking pictures with Nori and all that because I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. It wasn't nothing but a picture. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing but a picture, but I didn't feel comfortable doing it because all I would hear, like, man, you don't do no shit like that. Like, man, you don't ask no other dude to take no picture with you, or you don't show too much appreciation for no other. Yeah, he a man just like you. You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. Like, and so I get what dad just got old school rules, man. That's it.
I got a homie that is strong on the stance of going out and buying a sports jersey. Like he's really big on you wearing another man's jersey. You got another man's name on your back.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, I'm a fan. But
I kind of feel it. Like I kind of feel it for current players. Like old school players, I might do it for. I don't think I wear no jersey regardless, but I kind of feel it. Like I understand that sentiment of like, I ain't wearing a nigga jersey, but I used to be the jersey king when I was young. I used to have everybody jersey, but I guess you're a kid and it's different.
Yeah.
And to your point too, Jeff, I 100% feel differently about that now. Like I used to do it then because I was so caught up in what we were doing, what we were trying to build, and you know, let me shake my hand and take the picture. Maybe they'll remember this at some point. Bro, it ain't nobody that I would see out there and I'd be like, hey, bro, let's get a pic.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is now, like if I'm jaded or whatever it may be, but I just wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't be like, I don't care who you are. Like I ran into when I went to the Belly Gang Kush show, I ran into P from QC at the mall.
Oh, dope.
He was just walking in by himself, didn't have no security or nothing. I couldn't imagine asking that nigga for no picture, bro. Like it's just something I couldn't do that.
Couldn't do it, yeah.
You think that's maturity? Is that age? Is that maturity?
I think it is.
I don't even maturity is not even the right word. I don't want to say that.
It's age. Yeah, I feel like I'm too old to be asking niggas for pictures, bro. Like back when we was doing that at a Revolt, I was young whippersnapper. We were up and coming, and you know, like feel like I needed to do that. I feel like I needed to do that to show my importance. Like I felt that like it was almost like skipping a step, but you got to do the work. And now that I'm this many years in, I understand like the work supersedes any of that. It don't matter if you see. I got pictures with fucking DJ Khaled and like he said Nori and fucking David Banner after telling him I don't like his music, like all of that shit. But it's that's for other people. That ain't for you. Like more so is shaking hands and having a conversation if you can with those people is what's more beneficial. But back to the dad, I 1,000,000% have a dad like this. So we weren't cool growing up, but we have a greater relationship now.
That's how it matters.
If I had been cool with him growing up, his response probably wouldn't have been that, but the first thing that the nigga would have said is like, who car is that?
Yeah.
And then that would have been his like whose car are you standing in front of? Because I know, I don't think it's yours. And if it is, like we definitely need to have a conversation about some money. Like I knowing him is what he would have said. But like that's that old school generation of masculinity, like you're saying, Big Jeff, as to where it's like, I don't think not anything. I know I've never taken a picture in front of another new car. That's just what we come from, bro. Like it don't make sense. Like that's how do you put this? That's not a male thing to do. Ladies can do that. Oh, this is a cute car. I'll take a cute picture in front of this car and get my likes. That's fine. But if you a nigga, it's like you trying to say that this is my car because that's the expectation.
Because that's the expectation.
So I ain't mad. I ain't mad at the dad for this response. It's funny. It may be over masculine, and his son did put the laughing emoji, so he was able to laugh at it and not take it to heart. But it's interesting. Just the response and just the masculine part of it is interesting.
I agree. It's interesting because what he's saying, what the dad is saying, and what he's trying to teach isn't wrong. And I think it's one of those things that we all have those shared experiences. Just as a reminder. And it makes me think, and I still, you try to find the balance, right? I think about something when I was younger. I don't want to say I feel bad for it, but I think about it now like, damn, man, why was I doing? Why was I on that? And I'll tell you what happened. I remember being at the mall, and this is in Cincinnati, and this is when the Bearcats, UC Bearcats basketball was just, on top of the world, man. Jordan Brand, the whole nine.
Kenyon Martin there, right?
Kenyon Martin area. This might have been the Jason Maxiell, Donald Little, all that kind of era, man.
Patterson, was it Patterson?
Yeah, Ruben Patterson. That was like a little bit before, and all types of stuff, man. So it was a big deal.
Back then. That was my team.
Man, I think a lot of people were, because that was like the Huggins
Bob
era.
Huggins,
and I'll never forget.
Oh, my squad, man.
I wish I could tell you how old I was. Maybe I was 15, 16, somewhere around there. And I remember school was with me. We was in the mall. And he's 2 years younger than me, like 2.5 years younger. So if I was 16, he would have been 14 or 13, just about to turn 14. Young enough to be excited if you see someone that you see on TV. And this is fucked up, man. I'll never forget. He saw like one of the players. I forget who it was, Maxiell, Donald Little. And he got excited. He's like, "Ooh, like such and such." And my response was like, "Hey, man, get off his," you know what I mean? Like, and it was one of those, like, I look at it now as an adult, like, yo, why couldn't I let him have his moment as a kid, like to meet one of his favorite players or something like that? Why was their initial response? We don't do that, man. Get off that man team. Like, we don't run up on him on some fan shit. Like, you 13, bro. Of course you a fan.
You're a fan, like literally a fan, though.
You're literally a fan. Like, that's the perfect age to go up and do something like that. He would look at you like, oh, this is a child. I'm gonna take a picture with you, versus it being a grown man. And it's something that we all have kind of had. And I don't think the dad was wrong. It was funny. The whole "you got it from your mama's side" was funny. I think what he was trying to say without saying it was, like, get your own before you start. Don't pose. Be who you are in this world, right? If you
want to take these pictures, then go get your own shit to take these pictures with.
Yeah, don't fake
have
the
a
funk.
facade. Yeah,
man. Don't set the image of who you are, and then you really ain't about that, or not getting it, or maybe use it as motivation, right? Take a picture, man. I'm motivated to do my own thing, but the pose of trying to present it as this is me, or this is the life I'm living, and like you said, Spike, the mentality of I want to validate my importance in this space. And we've all seen the person, or might even still know the person, that tries to do a little too much. Like, you still on the scene, like, hey, we working, we building. Like, bro, that nigga didn't, like, that nigga don't know you.
Bruh. Like, man,
or you adding the person that's always adding the famous person, and they don't never get the repost or the retweet. Or, like, come on, man, it's okay to just to relax a little bit.
All of that's disgusting. And this is a different picture. His dad responds a different way if you just take a picture of the car. Hey, Dad, this is a cool ass car. I know you like old schools. Take a look at this one.
Yeah,
that's totally different for the people out there that don't understand, like, versus posing in front of the car. Like, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, so I like to think that he was just telling them to, like, be yourself. Like I said, don't try to stunt. Don't try to don't don't go to the game. Don't go to the football game and walk down to the very front row and take a picture like you sitting right there, and you really got seats up in the nosebleeds. Like, be who you are. It is what it is, right? Just
take the pictures on the wood.
Yeah, man. Be comfortable with who you are. Yeah, you taking pictures of yourself on the court, but you really set up in the 300s, and that's cool. Like, everybody has to do that. But I think the whole thing is a lot of people just need to be more comfortable with where they are in life, and maybe use some things as motivation. But I'm not mad at it. It was funny. The comments were upset, calling it toxic masculinity and whatever. I didn't take it that deep. It wasn't that deep to me. And like you said, the son laughed. I got where they were coming from. That's kind of how, if you have parents from that generation, that's how they're gonna look at it.
Is that toxic masculinity? Like, we used to it, so we know, and we come from that generation. But if it were a woman looking at that, or a younger, like, Gen, whatever the fuck they call, looking at that, would they take offense to it? Like, we're exposed. Us three, this trio, we're exposed to things like that. There are people that are not exposed to things like that and look at it like, oh, and they clutching their pearls. Are they wrong in doing that?
So I think it depends on.
I said this to Scoops, and he got a son that's just graduated high school, and his response was, "Damn, you hard on his son."
Well, that's the thing. I think, and just real quick, I think first, as we mentioned toxic masculinity, I think the big thing to mention is not letting people do what they want to do. Or, hey, I think that's feminine. I think that's less than a man when you do things like that and calling it out. I don't necessarily subscribe to toxic masculinity. I think it's just something that is a construct that's been put out. I think there's shit that's fucked up. But I don't know about anything that's toxic. I think everybody can learn and everybody can grow, but I don't like putting people in a bubble because then and the reason why is because it takes the real issue and turns it into something else. Now the word toxic is being overused every single time. The approach could definitely be different. I think what he really meant to say, he didn't say it, but he said it in his own way. I think what he's saying is like, that's some whole shit, what you're doing. Somebody's going to call that toxic. Somebody's going to say that is toxic. Like, let that young man be who he is. Where I think we all look at it as, I get the other side of it as well.
I think Pop's still out here though. I think Pop's still outside.
That too.
I'm not saying he's young, but I think Pop's still outside. So Pop still got motion.
He still got a little motion. Yep.
He still got some motion, and he carry himself as such. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like, so
that's
not saying that's right.
That's a good caveat to bring up. That because you could tell. I even seen homie chain, like the little chain that he got. Like, I know you can get a chain made anywhere nowadays. I understand that, but to even have that on with the Cuban link, with the like you could tell that his dad is somebody. If he not somebody, you know what I'm saying. So that's part of the response as well.
Exactly. So it's not an apples to apples scenario to how my mans who go to work every day, his corporate job, will answer that question talking to his son. This is a father who obviously
that's a really good point.
Know a little something about something else. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a safe assumption to say about that.
Facts.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that, just to kind of reiterate, I think that things can be toxic. I think they can be. I think everyone should be given the runway to be themselves. I will say it like that, and I think that it's okay to have old heads, whether they uncles, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever, to self-correct when they see you doing something that, hey, maybe you should look at it from this perspective. But there's also a generation where that just doesn't care about what we think and what we have to say. There's certain things we're going to do, and they cool with it. And I want to get y'all thoughts on that, man. I kind of respect it, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy that a lot more people are having the freedom to kind of be themselves and be what was deemed when we were younger as weird and nerdy, and now they can lean into that, and they don't have to be the hood nigga. You ain't gotta have the you ain't gotta have the Nietzsche and all that. Like, the kid with the NASCAR shirt can still be a cool dude, like, but they get labeled and misjudged because who the fuck is out here wearing? And maybe y'all some Tennessee niggas, man. So
whoa there, brother.
NASCAR shit, my nigga. Like,
I'm about to say, the NASCAR jackets was one thing. The NASCAR jackets,
we had the jackets, nigga, not the shirts. I ain't never seen no NASCAR.
The jackets was a move. Like, if you're wearing a Jeff Earnhardt shirt, they're still like, oh, Jeff Earnhardt, like, bro, where the Biggie shirt? Where the Tupac shirt? Like, you know what I mean? That's how it was looked, and that's how we was raised. And I think that giving them the runway and the freedom to kind of explore what it is that they like, and even when you talk about, and let's just go ahead and mention it because I see it a lot. One thing that I've understood or learned is that I'm never going to understand everything. Like, I personally don't understand the painted nails thing. I don't get it. I also don't want to down anyone. So what?
I was just going to further your point. Like, I'm not mad at them for it. I would never.
I was about to say, I don't want to down anybody because obviously it's a thing. Like, I'm sure there were things that we did that our parents were like, what the hell is going on? I'm sure the baggy area, right? I know that our parents were like, what the fuck, nigga, why you got on a 3X tall tee? You ain't even 6 foot.
Why your jeans are size 42, nigga? I have 42 waist jeans.
And y'all was making it hard for the niggas that really wore the 42 jeans back then. Y'all was making it rough on us back then,
Hey, shout out to my brother Donovan, man. R.I.P. to his pops, Buddy, man. R.I.P. Buddy Campbell, man. An absolute legend. Man, Buddy used to be so mad at us in high school, man, because he was a bigger dude. Like, man, I go to the store, I can't find shit because y'all little young niggas got all the shit on.
Nothing. Can't get right. Nigga
You
walk
know what I
around
mean?
with a 54 waist pants on because y'all skinny
boy,
niggas got the 44 and 42.
Man, I was notorious for a 40, 42 nigga in the 3X jacket. Nigga, I'm 5'8", 180. Nigga, like, what the fuck is you doing?
You gotta make the holes in your belt to make the pants.
You gotta double.
Yeah,
you gotta
niggas just
double
put
that, motherfucker. You gotta curl the pants, then put the belt through that motherfucker. Yeah,
you got the hoop shorts on underneath, and then you got the rubber bands
you got
back at the bottom of the jeans.
Yeah.
Man, we look crazy.
It was disgusting.
Going back to things like that, like I said, the nail paint and all that, you see people get triggered and angry, and it's, you know, it's okay to say, hey man, that ain't for us. Like, that's whatever y'all doing, that's y'all new generation. That's what y'all into. I don't get it, but I don't think it's cool or fair to say that's feminine or whatever. Like, it's a form of expression. And if that's what you want to do, by all means do it. Maybe ask a question of, hey, what do you get from this? Why do you like painting your nails? I'm sure there's an interesting story. Maybe there is something. But also it's cool to understand, to go into something saying, I'm never, regardless of what you say, I'm never going to understand it. But I'm curious to know what you feel about it. And you know, I don't think everything has to be. It can just be left there. Yeah, it can be left there. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep.
I agree with you. To go back to the toxic masculinity thing, I think that's in play when, like, you disrespected females, in my opinion. That's when you're talking about being toxic and toxic masculinity. I think him in this space with his father and them having that conversation, then I don't regard that as toxic. However, I'm a man, so like, take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to be way less offended by toxic masculinity than most people would be. To your point too, what I've appreciated and what will lead to our next conversation and our larger conversation, I find it refreshing that like we all felt like we had to be Master P, well, especially where we was from, Rich. I don't know, y'all might have tried to be like Crucial Conflict or some niggas Bone or some shit like that. Like that might have been what y'all like. Y'all, I don't know what shit, but
Ray Cash,
Ray Cash. I was about to say Ray Cash.
That might have been what y'all was on, but there's a specific place like where we from, like where nigga it was Master P and the Hot Boy, or excuse Master P, No Limit, Cash Money, the Hot Boys. And that's what you needed to be on to be considered cool. Like carrying yourself like that, the baggy jeans, nigga, the bling that you like, even going to the mall and going to the middle store and wasting a couple $100 on the fake bling and swearing to God that it's real in the nigga face in the teen club. Like, nigga, I know you don't got a diamond iced out TikTok face watch. I know you don't. But we still wanted to present it like that because we seen them niggas doing it. And a lot of us fell into that because that shit was so influential to us. And what's so refreshing about kids now is some of them aren't. Like, you see a lot of YNs that buy into the shiesty mask and having switches and shit like that. You see that. But it's some niggas that just like anime, bro. They just like streaming. I want to paint my nails like that, and that's fine. And one thing I did disagree with you on, Rich, I don't even got to know why, bro. I'm not even gonna ask you why you paint your nails all black. You do that, that's fine. It's cool. It ain't hurting me. I don't care, my nigga. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You want to paint your nails, fine. But I what made me appreciate that more is like looking at Kai Cenat streams. Like I picked up that a lot more over the last week or two. And I'm looking at this little nigga and I'm observing and I'm like, oh, this is what this is. This nigga just like really slick being. He's an entertainer. He's being himself. He ain't BG or Lil Wayne and trying to be hard and painting this facade of I'm a gangster, a thug, or I sell drugs. This is like, I'm an entertainer nigga that talk to the chat. I'm from the streaming generation. Like, oh, chat, do you think this is cool? It ain't based in hip hop. It ain't based really much so in black culture. It's streaming culture, and that's why he's popular. And seeing these little niggas having the runway to be able to do these things without being tied into something that's going to be detrimental to them, I think that shit is refreshing. I love watching.
I agree.
I love the little niggas talking about. I'm never going to watch anime. But y'all little niggas get off talking about whatever the fuck it is that shit is about. So
yeah, I go ahead, Jeff.
No, I agree. I just think it's more. I think that's what it is. The construct of cool has expanded.
Facts. Good point.
That's
Yeah,
what it is.
facts.
The YN still works. The young hustler nigga still works. That's gonna always work. The young getting money nigga, the young get fresh dude, the young pistol starter nigga. Those three gonna always work.
That's always
However, the athlete still works.
Mm-hmm.
The nerdy I write poetry dude works. I walk around barefoot and you know what I'm saying, play online streaming with my homies guy. Those guys are cool. Like, it's the construct of cool. As long as you find your tribe, you straight.
Facts.
You don't have to deal with nobody else. Like, I don't have to compete with the hustler nigga, because I ain't the same chicks that's into him ain't into me. But the chicks that like anime and like wrestling or Marvel movies, they don't care about how many packs he done sold. They don't care. They don't even know what that means.
They don't care how much a belt costs. They don't give a fuck that you got rack dope boy knots in your pocket. That shit don't matter to them
don't
at all.
matter at all. The dude she dating had the same
scared
outfit on. They are really afraid.
Scared now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so different when we were coming up though. Like, if you had as the hustling nigga or the I'm outside nigga, you had free reign. Like, you thought all the hoes is mine. Like, I got to turn the hose down. Like, I got motion, my nigga. So like, if the nerd girl, the girl that love trap niggas, the girl that like dad definitely don't want her fucking with me. All of this is free reign for me, my nigga, because I'm outside. That's how we felt in our generation, but it has changed. That's a really good point, Jeff. Like, everybody got their tribe now.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's one thing that I think our generation looks at. And I'm sure there are people, not us, I'm sure there are people that kind of envy that in a sense. Like, man, I wish I had that freedom to be that, because there's a lot more of the Kai Cenats and I'll say J. Cole, for example, because J. Cole, I think, resonated with so many people because it was the normal, regular, I go to school and I really want to buy into this persona of being the tough guy, being the cool dude, but I'm really just a smart nigga that like to hoop, and I just like girls, and I just like doing all the shit that I like to do. I'm not, you get lost in who you are trying to be all this stuff. There's more J. Cole's than there are Gucci Manes. Facts. And like Jeff just said, there's always going to be a spot for the Gucci's and the T.I.'s and the people who live that, because they're going to speak to an audience that knows exactly what they mean. Like, there's people who've been in the trenches, and that shit speaks to their soul. Like, Spike just went to the Belly Gang Cushington concert. Like, there's niggas in there that nigga, I know exactly what this man is talking about. I know why he's doing what he's doing and speaking out, talking that talk, which is probably, and there's also a generation of us who ain't never sold nothing, who's going to put the tux on and go to that Jeezy because we was outside when Jeezy was outside, and we can understand that that's just a cool persona, but it doesn't mean you have to be that in order to do it. Spike, I think you did a perfect segue. I don't know if you did it intentionally.
Yes.
It's probably our last current event topic and to wrap up our conversation on the masculinity. You said what?
I said, yes, I'm good at this.
With Kai Cenat, man. Kai Cenat and Wale. Damn, I was disappointed, man.
In who?
This was in Wale. I was disappointed in Wale. I ain't gonna hold
Jeff got a different opinion. Yes.
and I take Wale out of it, right? And let's just lead it. So at the BET Awards, Spike talked about Kai Cenat. Actually, I think we were talking about this pre-recording. But Kai Cenat's BET Awards stream was everything you wanted to be from a streamer. If you're into that world, you saw that the love that he got from a lot of people. I think Spike mentioned like pretty much everybody but Tyler Perry knew exactly who he was, kind of fanned out in a sense. Talked to him about wanting to be on the stream and all of that. And there was a moment, it looked like they were in the garage. I don't know if they were entering, exiting, where Wale was walking by.
He was entering, he was going into the awards. This was before the awards started. They had just pulled up.
So
I watched
Wale
4
and Kai, hey, I ain't mad at you. Wale and Kai Cenat dapped up, and it looked like Kai Cenat didn't know that was Wale. This is just some random nigga.
It sounded like too.
He
called him my boy. Hey, what's up, my boy? You playing the stream or what the fuck? Nah, he said you playing Switch. Is that what it's called? The Nintendo thing?
Yeah, Nintendo Switch.
He said, "What's up, my boy? You playing the Switch? What game you on?" He told him Smash Brothers, and he was like, "Oh, I'll fuck you up," and then hopped in the truck.
Yeah, hopped in the truck, continued doing the stream. later on, which I didn't see until
okay.
Before you go ahead, Spike. Go ahead. You do.
Okay.
Go ahead. Take it over.
So everything Rich just said, they were going through that whole process, and when him and Wale had that interaction, he hops in the truck, getting ready to pull up to the venue, and the chat was going crazy, and they were putting Wale's name in there. He's like, "Oh shit, I think there was somebody," and then they were typing Wale's name, and he called the nigga Wale. He said, "Wale, Wale, who is that? Who is Wale? Who?" He said, "Who is Wale?" So. That was the thing that I feel like Wale seen and was kind of pissed about, because mixing two worlds together. I was listening to the JBP today, and Ice and Wale are friends. And Ice said after that happened, because AB is convinced this is a skit. He think that this whole thing was planned out.
Yeah.
But what Ice said today is different. Ice said Wale called him after he ran into Kai Cenat and seen the stream part of them telling him who he was, and he was acting like he didn't know who Wale was. And he said Wale was genuinely about to crash out. Like Ice was dead. She's like, nah, dude was about to go crazy. Like on some old Wale shit. Yeah. And I was telling him, like, bro, you don't have to do that. He's a kid. Like, it don't really, he wasn't disrespecting you or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But he really took that interaction, like, oh, what's up, my boy? And then getting in the truck and reading your name wrong to like, I don't know this nigga. But Kai, again, watching some of his stream, I looked at a little bit of the pool party joint too. It wasn't a disrespectful thing from him, because I don't think he's never ran into anybody from what I've seen and like trying to be dismissive of him. It's like he's a 24-year-old dude who never claimed to be a hip hop head.
Right.
Wale ain't put an album out in 7 years. I want to say.
Yeah.
Wale ain't put an album out in 7 years, so it's easy.
That's not
true. That wasn't called came out recently.
Tiffany Nikes was after the pandemic.
I was about to say, yeah, I remember I went to see Wale in concert the year that
2021
was the Super Bowl.
2021.
The big one was the Super Bowl the year that he won his concert. I saw him in concert. I was like 2021. Yeah, he had something.
Okay. So
but I still don't expect it to reach Kai.
That's
not
my
his generation. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Like, Kai Cenat not gonna know somebody like Wale, like, especially if I'm in, again, to what people are failing to mention, he was in mode. I'm at the BET Awards. I got 3 million people on this stream. I'm moving around. I'm trying to get my folks in. I'm trying to like speak to everybody that I do know, that I do want to have and establish connections with. So if I'm moving like that and I run into somebody like Wale who I really don't know, it's okay to not know who he is. But what we're talking about here and what the conversation is going to be based around is later on, after this happened, after he called Ice told him not to crash out. Kai Cenat is sitting there talking to Snoop on the floor of the award stage. And him and Snoop, like, this is fucking Snoop Dogg, bro. Wale felt the need to come to Kai Cenat and be like, hey, man, they tripping on me about what happened, the interaction that happened earlier. Kai still don't even really know who he is. And he's like, oh, damn, bro, that's fucked up. We'll rap. And Wale was like, oh, yeah, we'll rap later. That's the masculinity and male ego that needs to be addressed as far as what we talk about with mental health. Because like for Wale to be upset about that, and I'll give another example, Big Jeff. I'm going to throw you under the bus, kind of. As we get into this. Rich, so there's been this thing going around the city, that Nashville, that like people don't support artists. We don't support each other.
Let's do it.
Which is why a lot of artists don't get the buzz or props that they're supposed to. So there's an artist that has a really popular, well, not even, I wouldn't say really popular. He has a hot song.
Yeah.
And somebody posted on Facebook, like, see, this dude only got this many thousand views. It's because Nashville don't support each other. Whoop de woo. And I'm like, damn, you know what? I have a platform. He got a hot song. I'm gonna reach out to him. Yeah. Big Jeff tells me that he knows the guy. Yeah. I reach out to the guy, Rich, and it's time back into the Wale thing too. I reach out to the guy, Rich, and I was like, you know what? I do a podcast. I'm based out of Atlanta. I'm from Nashville, and you know, I would love for you to come on and just talk about this song that you got. Like, just give you the platform to talk about what you want to.
Yeah.
Rich, the nigga responded to me. He said, respect. I charge $222 for interviews. and that was what he left it. And I sent the screenshot to Big Jeff.
That's where it would have got left too, on red.
Listen, I sent the screenshot to Big Jeff. He was like, "Do you want me to reach out to?" Because Jeff know the nigga.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, absolutely not. I'm not even responding to this." Because, and I think that ties in with the Wale thing. It's like the expectations that people have, like how I handled that versus how Wale handled it. Is like I got to go double back and be like, nah, you're supposed to know who I was. Like, it's fine that Buddy didn't respect the platform that I have and want to be on it, or that you wanted to charge. I ain't knocking you for none of that. What I'm not gonna do is respond to that though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that those are levels of masculinity in which we look at as men.
I'm curious, just real quick. I'm just curious, how old is he?
I don't know the nigga. I only reached out because Big Jeff said he was cool.
Age range, like, is he young? Are we talking about 20?
How old is he, Big Jeff?
If he's 30, maybe 20, he's 29, between 29 and 31.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to toss it over to you, Big Jeff, but before I do, just real quick. The Wale thing, that's the reason I'm not upset at. Listen, y'all know how we feel about The Wire. My name is my name, right? That's a real big thing, right? There is something about not being known or feeling like you've done enough. And I get it. Wale's been around for quite some time. Yeah. And I've done enough. I left enough of an imprint to where I should at least be recognized. And it hurts, I'm sure, when that new generation comes, because you have to start answering questions about, am I still relevant? Or you have to be comfortable, which I feel like I am, and a lot of people are, of knowing who your audience is. Like, I wouldn't even care about that age range, maybe from an entertainer standpoint, if it talks about dollars and cents and you want to reach that. But Wale, you don't make music for people in Kai Cenat's age range. That's not what you do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not out here. I could see if No Hands, which is probably the one song I'd say people from that era,
he probably know
or that generation probably know. And that's a Waka song. Like, you know, the Kai ain't listening to Tiffany Nikes. You know what I mean? He's not doing that. And I think it's okay to know that, hey, this is my audience. If I throw a concert, who's going to be at the show? It's not going to be a bunch of 20-year-olds or people that's watching, probably watching anime, but people who was at watching Kai Cenat streams like that, like on a regular, on a daily, whatever the case may be. I went to a Wale concert before. It was live, and it was people our age who grew up with Wale and knew all the work he did. I'm a big Wale fan, but I'm also just not into. There was no reason for you to go up to him afterwards. Like, you know, they running with it. They running with it, man. You know, I'm just telling you, it was a bad look. I get
we'll talk later. Like, bro,
we'll talk later, and you and your feelings, but bro, like, let that shit go. Like, it is what it is.
That's
like,
toxic male ego right there.
Which part?
Like to feel like y'all should know me. Like, it's one thing to be good at what you do, though.
I don't think I think we missing the point, y'all. I don't mean to cut you
off. Go ahead, Jeff.
But I think we missing the point. I do. I really truly do. I don't think it was about Kai Cenat not knowing him. I think it was about how it played out when Kai Cenat realized I maybe could know him. All right, so it went like this. He gives him the vague, that's what's bro, you on the switch, I beat you, whatever, and gets in the car because he don't know him, right? The chat is telling him, oh shoot, that's somebody I should know. Wale, who is Wale? Or who is Wale, whatever he says the name wrong. The driver says, oh, it's Wale. You know, Wale, no, whatever. And Kai says, he said, Lotus Flower. He said, and just moved on. Like, it wasn't no acknowledgement, like, oh, shoot, that's he cool. It was and just kept it moving. That's what I think. I don't know Wale from Campaign. But just judging by his reactions and his interviews, I'm like Rich. I'm a huge Wale fan. I'm a bigger Wale fan than any of the other big three. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's crazy.
That's a whole nother. We'll be here an hour explaining how Wale should have been in the big three, but messed it up because he couldn't handle himself publicly.
Because he did shit like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is what kept him from being bigger than Cole. Because he got more hits than Cole, but people relate to Cole more. We can do it.
That's another conversation for another day.
I'm
not saying you're wrong.
Another day.
I just never thought about it like that.
Track for track, Wale smokes Cole, like smokes his boots, but people relate to Cole more. That's a whole other story. All right, bet. So, but Wale gotta look how I'm saying that. Wale gotta live with that he's not mentioned in that group of his peers anymore. So now, knowing you're not mentioned in the group with your peers anymore, knowing your traction ain't what it used to be, and knowing you fully independent, and you walk up on the biggest streamer in the world, slap his hand, and thinking it's something, and he in the Jeep like, oh man, that nigga. That's how he saw.
No, see, you putting
That's how
sauce
he
on it
saw
though,
it.
because he didn't never
That's how
saw
he
it, and that's Wale's fault.
Yeah.
That ain't Kai fault. You
Nah,
can't.
I'm with you on
see,
that. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
You can't, like, you can process it that way. That's fine.
Yeah.
I ain't telling nobody how to think in the sense of Wale.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you reapproach a nigga and you try to tell him how he should have responded to that. Like, everybody know Wale is a good fucking rapper, bro. Like that, and that's part of the problem with his perspective on things.
Yeah.
When you're really fucking good at your job, you want people to acknowledge you for such.
Yeah.
People acknowledge Wale for being really fucking good at his job, but they also acknowledge this superseding thing. He a crash out. Like, he spent the whole Joe Budden podcast talking about being a crash out and having PTSD, and still went and did the shit again.
You can't
like, you have to understand the scenarios that you in, and that goes to what we were talking about with knowing your friends, if they're gonna be an hour later or not. Like you said, Big Jeff, he can't help himself. He has to be in a place now where you make this positive press versus negative press. And how you do that is figure out a way. I'm sure Kai felt bad about it. You should have people.
The Wale stream coming real soon.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the next time we should hear Wale and Kai talk. It shouldn't have been, oh, I'm interrupting the conversation with you and the most famous fucking rapper ever to let you know I felt played. That's toxic masculinity to me. That's me crashing out on Buddy that Jeff know and being like, nigga, do you know who I am? Or how many people listen to me a week? And like, I'd
have been so disappointed if you sent that message back, Spike. I'd have been like, yo, well, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. I sent it to somebody else, and he sent me this long out message of like, you should say it. I'm like, bro, I'm not saying any of that, my nigga. That's staying left on red. Will never hear from me again. That's how it works. Like, when you're comfortable in who you are and what you've done. And Wale is battling with this thing of, I'm really fucking good and y'all not giving me the respect that I deserve, but nobody has to give you that respect, bro. Like, I think that's the biggest problem with a nigga like Wale. And when we talking about masculinity, like, he's feeling a little less masculine because I know I'm fucking good, but y'all niggas is treating me like I'm a poo putt, and I'm not. But that ain't on them. That's on you.
Well, let me say this, because this is something that Wale's been dealing with his entire career.
Yeah.
Coming from the blog area, coming from, before 2025, if you go back to those origins, those 08, 09, 2010, he was in that group with your Coles, Kendricks, Drakes, Big Sean's, all of that. All of them was lumped together. And then over time, people decide who gets to separate. It's never been a talent thing. And I think that's part of the frustration. I think all of us can relate to being talented at something. Not only just talented, being better than a lot of the stuff that you see in the same profession or in the same lane, and wanting to be the person that says, I need the recognition that such and such is getting because I'm better than them. I don't know. I don't understand why y'all resonate. He's been fighting for that his entire career because Wale is nice. And I think he looks at it on some, why am I not at a level of Cole, Kendrick, Drake? And I can understand that part of it. I can understand him. But on the flip side of that, there has to be a part where you find peace in who is my audience, who is my crowd, how do I maximize that and be that next level? Sometimes people don't get breaks until it's way past their prime or it's late in the game, and you never know. People who love Wale, they love Wale. Wale can drop a tour tomorrow. I'm buying a ticket. I'm there. There's no question about it. But I also can understand when you feel like you have the talent to rule the world and not enough people are paying attention to that. So I think a natural persona, and that's, like I said, this isn't an original content. That's something that's been said about him forever. And the way he approaches it, because talent-wise, he is there. But for some reason, he just doesn't connect with the mainstream. If that was anybody else, if that was Cole, Kendrick, Drake, Kai Cenat would have dapped him up, mentioned him by name, it wouldn't have been none of that. You said what?
He would have knew who he was.
Yeah, they would have known who he was. And for some reason, that's not. We know, but I think the other aspect of this is, like, bro, like, you 20, I don't expect anybody to know
He's
I don't expect
24
24-year-olds to kind of know.
I think
if they do, that's cool.
See, Big Jeff don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that part. I don't agree with the age part. I don't agree with that. At 24, I knew who LL was. I knew who Rakim was. I knew who Ron DMC was. I knew who Big Daddy Kane. I knew all these people. And that wasn't even really, that was 2 generations after me. I knew who Ice Cube was. I knew who DJ Yellow. I know who Yellow was. Easy. I could see these people. I knew who the DOC. I knew all these people. Spice One, Sally Cell, goddamn it, MCA. I knew who these people were if they were in front of me. Now I also loved and still love rap music.
That's my point.
Yeah,
you're a hip hop baby.
Yeah.
He's a streaming baby. That little nigga been out in New York with a microphone since he was 16 years old, walking up to random ass people interviewing. He is not a hip hop baby. Well, we're hip hop babies.
Yeah,
I was introduced to that shit like with Cool Daddy Fresh and all the local rappers, and then growing into all the people that you said. We're hip hop babies, so it's different for us, and it's appalling to some hip hop babies to see this and to think that damn, he ain't hip hop. No, he's not. He's not hip hop. He's a streamer kid. I'm hip hop adjacent because I'm black, and I do know some famous artists who benefit from my stream, and it looks as if I'm in this space. But I really think that after watching him for 4 hours and 45 minutes on 2 streams, it's like, oh, this little nigga just having fun. He's entertainment. Like he related so much more to Kevin Hart than he did with anybody else, because Kevin Hart's an entertainer and in that lane that he wants to be in without actually having to be a comedian. Like when him and Drewski got together on the stream, that shit was pure comedy, bro. And that's what he wants to do. I want to make people laugh. I want to entertain people. I want them to understand me. I may listen to Playboy Cardi. I may listen to who is the other niggas that they fuck with? What's the nigga name in New York? A Hoodie with the Yudi.
A Boogie with the hoodie.
Like he know them people because they're popular and famous and they're of this generation. His generation listens to them. It's not, you can't expect him to know a Wale because Wale is so niche. That would be like us knowing.
Okay. But let me ask you this though. Before you say that, he knows Cole. Of course he knows Drake.
Popular.
He knows Kendrick. Does he know Big Sean? Does he know Future?
He knows Future.
He knows Future.
He definitely knows Future. He was excited. He was excited to see what's my man Thug. He was excited to see Thug on the street.
Does he know? Okay, so
does he know Bow Wow? Does he know Bow Wow? I know that's like that sounds like funny, but I wonder if he
Bow Wow.
Like
Bow Wow was on his dick. Pause.
Hey yo.
Bow Wow was like, hey, oh, Kai, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was he know Bow Wow because Bow Wow know him.
But think about it from that standpoint. If my classmates, if it was 5 of them, right? That whole generation was 5 of them. It was Sean, Wale, Cole, Kendrick, Drake. 4 to 5.
But keep naming out.
You see what I'm saying?
But those people are super famous. He don't know Big Crit. He don't know Big Crit.
You got Wiz, you got Mac Miller.
It's debatable if he knows Big Sean. I think he don't know Big Crit. He don't know Wale. He don't know with Mac Miller's past. So who was the other person?
Now, if I'm Wale and you put me, no disrespect to nobody else, you put me down there with Crit. You put me down there with
that's where you belong.
Like Cuddy. Cuddy's part of that era.
That's a failure. If Wale, no disrespect to Crit, but if Wale is mentioned with the same level as Big Crit, that's a failure.
I think they're the same. I think they're the same artist.
No,
he know Meek because his online presence.
You know what's funny is we don't look at it the opposite way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a big part of this also is you're younger than me, you should know me, because
which is crazy.
If you name me 10 artists that like look at take the freshman cover, XXL freshman cover. I remember on deck talking about like last year's, and I'm like, I don't know anybody, and that's normal, right? Why is it not the other way? What if young kids got mad at us for not knowing them? I don't think they would look at it like that, because they would look at us and say, man, nigga, this ain't for you, old nigga. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's the same
what they
way
do already.
That's what, and I think that's how Wale should have went about it. I get it. Because like I said, Wale, anytime you feel like you owe something, go get what you owe. I get it. Yeah. But also, man, you can't expect everybody to know. You can't put that responsibility on them, because you're going to set yourself up for failure every time. there's gonna be a lot more people like Kai Cenat. If you walk the streets, if you walk to an establishment with, let's say Wale walked in with a camera and a microphone, right outside of a 25 and under club, like, you know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
The age range usually around that time. How many people do we think that could be interviewed by Wale and they know they're talking to Wale?
Not a lot.
Probably not a lot. That's not his fault though. That's not
unless they into sneakers and fashion. You know, if they ain't really in fashion like that.
And wrestling.
Or wrestling. Yeah.
Jesus, yeah, like but that's the thing about this that was such a turnoff is how Wale perceived it though. Yeah, like I think one of the biggest things for me why I'm not as big a Wale fan as y'all are, because for me music is as much as it is about the bars, like the story matters a lot more to me than the rapping. Sometimes, like this was the reason I'm a Belly Gang Cushion fan, reason I love Jeezy, reason I'm a T.I. Like I love the story, the person, who they are, and why I've never been able to really buy into Wale, even though knowing that he's an elite rapper. I definitely will state that he's an elite rapper. It has always bothered me that he was so invested in, oh, people are not giving me my due respect. Which I get. I understand that being a creative as well and knowing you're really good at something and people not putting you in the same category as someone who got millions of marketing dollars behind them. I get it, but the way that he voices his disdain with it has always bothered me. And I think that's what's been detrimental to Wale's career as to why you put him down there with someone like Crit versus putting him somewhere with a J. Cole or putting him somewhere with a Drake. It's like you did this to yourself, bro, and you're trying to act like other people did this. Yeah. If y'all are Patreonies or whatever it may be, but people listen, it's a really interesting interview that he did with Joe Budden. Like him and Joe Budden are friends. Him and Ice are friends, but he still went up there and was acting guarded and like they were media, even though it was a safe space for him. Like they had to convince the nigga to open up, and that's a you thing. That ain't a me thing, my nigga.
That tells you though. All right, I know we've been on for a minute, so I'm gonna be short with this, but that tells you what he's been through as an artist, right? So you got to think of quick. So think about it from first, Attention Deficit. That comes out. That's his only album with the big budget, right? Mm-hmm. His first album, big budget. He got Lady Gaga on the song. He got Gucci. He got Marshawn, bro. He got everybody. You know what I'm saying? J. Cole, he got all the big boy features. Got a Rihanna sample, anything you can ask for. They pulled the plug. They pushed the button on that album. It didn't sell. The singles didn't catch on like they thought it would, right? Mm-hmm. At the time, he was ahead of the pack. When the Blueprint 3, I don't know if you might have been in Atlanta when Blueprint 3 came out, but when the Blueprint 3 tour. So did you go to the Vanderbilt concert?
Yeah, Cole
was the opening act.
Came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cole was first, then Wale, then Jay-Z, and soon thereafter, everybody lapped him. Everybody passes him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was doing the conceptual mixtapes first. He was doing the introspective, emotional rap. Maybe Drake was doing it too, but he was doing those records. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He was doing those records. Yeah. So by that time, he looks at the field and say, damn, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like you look at think about just sit back and think about if J. Cole did the album about nothing. That concept, that Seinfeld concept album, and executed it as well as Wale did. It would be regarded as one of the greatest albums of the last 20 years. But now you got to tell people that Wale did that album and they listen to it like, damn, it is fire. He did execute that from step 1 to step 2. Like he smoked that. So it just he has to look in the mirror and realize like a lot of that stuff was self-sabotage, whether it be how he responded to certain things online, how he treated certain people, but how people perceived him.
You're right. And I think that's the definition of toxic masculinity, though. Like that's the definition of, or one of the definitions. I think there's other things that go into it as well. But in this particular circumstance, this is his ego, his manlyhood being like, I can't just accept that I'm really fucking good at what I'm at what I do. And some people just not going to relate to, and it's not going to translate over to, because I'm not willing to do the things that Drake or J. Cole or Kendrick did. And I ain't saying that they did anything crazy. It's just like, I didn't get the budget behind me to be propelled into the space that they're in. I maybe didn't have the hit song. Maybe record labels hated on me. Like all of that, you have to understand. And when you're having an interaction with somebody like Kai, for it not to be like I'm bringing all of this baggage into this interaction to this young man who's in a fresh space and doing what he's supposed to do. I'm bringing all this baggage and PTSD into it that I've spoken to on interviews that everybody knows about me. And I'm using that as fuel to say, hey, man, you did me wrong. Like, no, leave him out of that, bro. Swallow that L and keep it moving. He ain't got to know you. It ain't got to be no other conversation had. Have your team reach out to his team and try to set up the stream. I know that Kai Cenat is a dude that he would apologize on the stream. Y'all would have a good stream. It would be entertaining because Wale is an entertaining dude. But the toxic part of it is going like doubling down and not knowing when to say when, even after you've had all of this experience in people telling you, hey, bro, you're doing too much, bro. Like you call friends, people advise you against doing it, and you still couldn't listen. Like at some point, it's a you thing and not an everybody else thing. And I think Wale's still looking at it like, oh, it's a y'all thing, not a me thing. No, bro, it's a you thing. It's you that has put yourself in this position.
I disagree on one part of that. I think he is looking at it as a you thing. And that's the part that hurt even more. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that hurt even more. When you going back to, I mean, now we going back to self-assessing and self-accountability, right? Like, you looking at yourself like, I did mess this up. I did limit myself. I did kind of cut my nose and spite my face. Like, I did do those things, and now here I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so now all of this stuff happens, all of this stuff. I just have this interview in this big platform like Joe Budden, and then everything that I talked about on that interview happens in 30 seconds. Because now Kai comes in and does that, and now I'm back where I'm at.
I got everything
I said I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. I got a homie, he a rapper, he want to win bad. He want the fame, the acclaim, the respect that's been had by all the legends. So every time I see him, he's stressing, talking about niggas don't fuck with him. That shit is depressing. That's False Prophets. That's J. Cole's song. That second verse was about Wale.
Yes.
Yeah. Wale has been doing this for quite some time. Like, I get it. I understand. And what you're saying, and I guess that kind of solidifies your point, Spike. This is something that people have been calling him out. And Wale and J. Cole are cool. And I respect the fact that they can take that and say, look, I'm telling you, I'm seeing this, bro. You nice. I think J. Cole, you nice. Why do you care about the accolades and this recognition for people? Because there's so many other people. I think that's what happens when, if you want to talk about the toxic, but the toxic part is not acknowledging the people that do fuck with you heavy and spending so much time on the people that don't and trying to get that. I get both sides of it because I understand Wale, like, y'all got me fucked up, but I also understand like, bro, you can't do that. You trying to control stuff that you can't control. Like, let it go. Yeah. And I can understand that being exhausting. I think we all probably got someone in our life like, yo, bro, just relax, bro, chill. Like, I promise you good. So go ahead, Jeff. You got something to say before we wrap things up and get out of here?
No, it's just to put a ball on the Wale thing. Lou, I know you were in Nashville when this happened, so I can tell the story. Like, I remember remember that grind hard wave when All Star first when he's now Star Leader. When All Star first took off, the mixtapes was buzzing in the city, right? Me being me as a wanted to be artist at the time as well, doing music as well. I had a minimal buzz, not even considered a buzz, but people who knew I rap knew I was cold, right?
Franchise.
Yeah, people who knew I was rap knew I could really go. I still can go, whoever wants to go, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. But that's beside the point. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff.
But at the end of the day, right, I remember like being in Edge Hill, like being in the project, and people saying, bro, you should be with Ed. I'm like, nah, I ain't put the work in. So then I had to go take them CDs down to downtown and go sell them. Like we talked about last time I was here, Lou. Stand on 2nd Avenue when people leaving the club every night and go sell CDs for $5 and $3 and try to get, whatever, pay my rent off of moving my music downtown just to get a name out there, simply because I saw them do it. I couldn't be mad at them because he had a team and he was organized and he knew what to do and he brought his homies with him and made it look good and they looked the part. No, see what they doing and understand that's what you got to implement. And that's what Wale missing. He's looking at it like, I missed my boat. I missed my opportunity and I'm gone. When it's really, if I hitch myself and understand and be a student of the game and see what's going on, I still could salvage my career and make something out of it. And still, because he still could make a hit. That's not the problem. It's just making people give a damn about it.
Facts.
Yeah. That's a fact, man.
Yeah. And the piggyback.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to piggyback off that, like, to the same scenario, like a motherfucker tell me, oh, well, you're as good as such and such, and you do better at this than them. I know the work that it takes to get to the level that they at. I know that. Like, you can't. I don't care that the nigga tell me, oh, I would rather listen to you versus the Breakfast Club, or this is better than the Joe Budden podcast. Like, that doesn't matter. What matters is the work that you put in to get to the point that they at. I seen Joe work. I seen Charlamagne work to build a network that they built. Like, all of the people that are successful in this space, there's steps that need to be taken in order to get to that place. Yeah. It don't matter the talent. Like Big Jeff just said, like, so what? Yeah. Like, you may enjoy this more, and that's cool, and I appreciate you. I don't want to dismiss like you loving this show or the content that I put out, but I still know that there's a certain level of work, of marketing dollars, of backing that it takes to get to that position. It's not just about talent. It ain't about being able to hold a conversation on the microphone. There are so many other things going out, nurturing relationships, understanding who you need to talk to. All of these things matter into how you get fed into the ecosystem of being popular in this space. Just like what Jeff was saying on another level when he was talking about like passing out mixtape. Like there are things that are required to be like the boxes you got to check to be fed into this ecosystem like you want to. And as long as I haven't checked those boxes yet, the talent can be there. That's fine. Yeah. But you still got to understand like there's more work to do, and those guys have done that work.
That's it.
So
don't quit running from that work. A lot of y'all niggas out there running from that hard work.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
Including one hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard, as they say.
Facts.
That was a great conversation, man. Definitely appreciate y'all. Hopefully, bookworms, y'all out there can gain something from this. A lot of other places we could have taken it. However, we, getting a little bit late, getting to that 2-hour mark, man. We want to go ahead and shut it down now. But Jeff, you already know what it is, man. Open invite whenever you want to come in. Put your pen to the page, man. Be a co-author. Doors always open, man. We definitely appreciate you coming on. Spike Lee, the legend. You already know what it is, man. Keep doing what you do. And for everybody out there, man, please remember to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Be a part of this community. Be a bookworm. We'll be back next week with chapter 33. Some more great conversation and content. Until then, we'll see y'all, man. Be cool.
Peace.
Also, got to end it the right way. Let's get better this week. All of us. Let's get better this week, y'all. We'll holler at y'all, bookworms. Peace.